there are some epic poker players I'd like to talk more with just because I love their story. I think Josh Aria real underrated. I'd love to have him on. Obviously, the GOAT, Patrick Antonius, true legend of the game. Me and him have been talking about doing a show for a long time. So, my goal was to have, I would love to have everybody on. Eric Seidel, these guys I haven't had on, Johnny Chan, the true legends, these guys with the stories, Bobby Baldwin, guys like that. I think I would love to do something with anytime, right? These guys would be epic. A lot of the, high stakes cash players would all be great, but I'm trying not to let myself get that excited about that possibility right now because then it takes you down a path. You just get fired up. I get fired. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should get PA on the legend. I mean, the GOAT.
This is the Chad and Jesse Poker Show.
All right, we've made it to episode number 8 of the Chad and Jesse Poker Show. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome, welcome. We got a big special guest today. A little tease. In Spanish, it's Papi. That's right. Joey Ingram is in the house. We're going to have him soon. But before that, my co-host here is a little under the weather today. Don't worry, you'll hear it, but it's just a little tip just to let you know, in case you hear it. What's wrong with the audio? Don't adjust your speakers. Chad's sick.
Yeah, it's not my usual podcast voice, unfortunately. Got a lot going on up here. The real flu has followed me over here to the World Series of Poker at Paris and Horseshoe.
Yeah, luckily Chad won a charity auction years ago from Breaking Bad, so he has a yellow containment suit. He brought it. He'll be going home in that very shortly. But before that, we got a main topic to talk about today, and that is the 2023 WSOP Poker Hall of Fame candidates have been announced. We had nominations open for a while. Now the top 10 candidates have been announced, and we just wait for the winner to be given to us in the future. So today we're going to go over each of these candidates and talk about what their qualities are and what we just want to open up and talk about it. So let's jump right in with number 1, Josh Aria.
Yeah, I think this is a good addition to the list. I think it's his second year in a row being nominated. Yep. He is a 5-time bracelet winner, won his 5th one earlier this summer. And so he's making an even stronger case for the Poker Hall of Fame 2021 WSOP Player of the Year. I do like Josh Aria. I think he's very deserving, and I think he's got a lot of support among the living Poker Hall of Fame members. So definitely, one of those guys who could slip in there.
Yeah, when it comes to his history in poker, I mean, he's been a winning player since the 90s, which is insane because Josh Aria just doesn't feel like that sort of guy. I mean, he's so current. He's so involved in the poker community that it doesn't feel like someone who has that sort of history, but he does. And that's what I love about Aria as for me, a major candidate for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's good friends with Daniel Negreanu too, who of course is in the Poker Hall of Fame and has a big voice. He might be able to drum up some votes for his friend. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Aria with, 11.4 million on Hennen, which is of course amazing. He's been, I mean, what are Chad, can you remember offhand what all the requirements are for the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, so it's standing the test of time, playing the highest stakes, and 40 years old, maybe one other one in there.
Yeah. So Aria 100% crushes all of these.
Yeah.
And this is, again, where it's like, he's not the only one who's crushing all these. But he'll definitely, in my opinion, make it into the Hall of Fame. Is it this year? I'm not sure about this year, but
he's got some tough competition, like Jeremy Ausmus being on the list for the very first time.
Yeah.
Now a 6-time bracelet winner, has won them all within the last 21 months, I think.
No, 5 of them in the last 21 months.
Which is just incredible to win that many in that short period of time. I don't think it's ever been done in the history of poker. He just won one here at the 2023 World Series of Poker. It was an online event, so gets an online bracelet to go with his impressive resume. I think he just turned 40 years old and became eligible. And so Jeremy Ausmus definitely, he has the respect of his peers. I think that was the other criteria for the Poker Hall of Fame. And, he is certainly a contender.
Yeah, Ausmus's best live cash on hand is 2.1 million. Total live earnings 15.6. Like Chad said, 6 bracelets, including this online high roller. It was a $3,200 buy-in, I believe, for just around $300K. He cashed. I mean, massive. And yeah, it's just another someone with an amazing stacked resume that definitely deserves it. Just will it be this year? That's the question.
There's a guy on the next list we'll talk about here. I actually seen on social media, a lot of people were surprised he wasn't already in the Poker Hall of Fame. They didn't realize that he wasn't. I'm talking about Ted Forrest, 6-time bracelet winner, long-time stud cash game crusher, been around for decades. He's a legend within the poker world. He's been a nominee on the Poker Hall of Fame list for many years. I think he dropped off of it last year, but now he's back. Ted Forrest, he was here at the World Series of Poker, playing in some events. He's still around. It's he played in the big game with Andy Beal, with the corporation, and part of the book, The Banker, the Professor, the Suicide King, or somewhere. I don't know the order of that one. But Ted Forrest, I think, definitely a legend.
Yeah, just going through Ted Forrest's 10 scores is so fun to see all these events from like the 90s that, have been potentially not necessarily forgotten, but just not talked about in recent years. I mean, love to see him winning like a Diamond Jim Brady event. Like that's awesome. It's so sick. WPT championship, of course, WSOP bracelets. I mean, it's just, and not only that, but just the spread of games too, from 7-card stud, 7-card Raz in 93. God, come on. That is rich, man. Yeah, Ted Forrest.
I think he won 3 bracelets in 1993. I think he was one of the few players to ever win 3 bracelets in 1 year.
Yeah, you're right. It was the 008. It was the Raz, and it was a 7-card stud. I mean, what a mixed game crusher, dude.
Yeah.
What a mixed game crusher. Speaking of mixed games, check out the Robbie Straczynski mixed game series at Resorts World. They've got a sick Poker Stars package they're giving away.
So July 2nd through the 6th.
There you go. There's a little pitch. Love you, Robbie. All right. Yeah. So, Ted Forrest. I mean, what a.
How about Kathy Liebert, the only woman on the list? It's her second year being nominated. Now she's one of the top female players of all time. Really a trailblazer for women in poker. She won a WSOP bracelet. She's been playing for decades. I know she's got a lot of support. I know that Tom McAvoy and TJ Cloutier both gave all 10 of their votes for her last year. That's information that was made public. I think Tom was the one who mentioned that, and so she's got that support. And Kathy Liebert, she's a grinder. She's a crusher. She's still doing it right now at the 2023 WSOP.
How many bracelets does she have?
Just one. Just one bracelet.
See, when I think of her, I just expect, because again, you're right. She has been a crusher for so long, so many decades, that it makes me think that she has more. But yeah, one bracelet, but she's won so many events. I mean, looking at like her head and mob again as well, I love seeing stuff like, let me see, it was the Poker Superstars Invitational Tournament that she won in March, April, June, September, all these in 2005, just continued to go in, just take it down every time. I mean, it's
almost $7 million in career lifetime earnings for Kathy. So I think definitely very deserving for her. And then likewise, we have Mike the Mouth Matisow, who's been on the list now for several years, always making a case for himself, 4-time bracelet winner, one of the top players in the world during the 2000s. And he's still doing his thing. He's playing the World Series of Poker every year. When it comes to characters and, kind of legends of the game, Mike the Mouth Matisow is right there with the best of them. He made a name for himself during the poker boom.
Dude, 100% Mike Matisow is one of the reasons why I got into poker. Like when I was watching in 04, 05, 03, 04, 05, one of those years, like with my dad at like the bar or whatever, watching Mike and his stuff with Hellmuth, or just like the way he would his personality was so fun and entertaining for me that I couldn't get enough. Like here's a card game that already is fun and exciting to watch, but Mike was enough to make me want to watch more. Lon and Norman were fantastic commentators in my opinion, and they really woke it up, but I could not get enough of the mouth. I mean, so I am so sad he's not already in the Hall. Like I wish that he was. I worry that it's going to get farther and farther away from me, like my favorite years of Mike the Mouth, but he's still out there crushing. He's still out there playing and still pursuing those. I mean, it's not like he's not making deep runs too.
Well, you just mentioned Lon and Norm. They're also on the list as they're on there together. So it's a pair here. The announcers from the World Series of Poker since 2003 up until the recent move here to the new home of the WSOP. So the voices. And as you said, I think they're the ones who really brought the poker boom to life as far as the ESPN broadcast go, right? Because they were the ones who were talking, guiding us through it. Norman had all his famous quips throughout the decades.
All those divorces, man.
All those divorces. We had Lon, of course, here on the show talking about some of his favorite memories. This is for the builder category. Obviously, they don't play high stakes poker, things like that, but both have contributed to the game in a positive manner. They both stood the test of time. I like to see these two on here again. Whether or not they're going to have enough support to get in, that remains to be seen. Yeah,
Lon, his first year doing commentary was 02. And then 03, of course, Moneymaker. That was Norman's first year, and just hearing Lon tell those memories of how the production was done, and knocks on the door of the hotel room at 4 a.m. and they had to re-record things, and recordings got lost, and it's such a rich history for how those poker broadcasts came together, and I love it, and I really want to see them in the Hall. I'm such a huge fan of both these guys, and they've just been so important to poker.
Well, arguably the front runner for the Poker Hall of Fame this year might be Brian Rast, especially after what he accomplished just the other day. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. Won his 6th bracelet for those wondering. So he's a 6-time bracelet winner. He's been crushing the high stakes games for many, many years. He has the respect of his peers. He stood the test of time. It's not uncommon for players, because remember, the voting members are those in the Poker Hall of Fame, and a lot of those are high stakes players. So they do tend to favor inducting high stakes cash game players. A player, if you will. And in that regard, I think Brian Rast might have the fast track right now to this year's nomination and ultimate induction. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Rast making over $25 million on Hendon Mob. Like Chad said, his 6th bracelet, his 3rd time winning the PPC. Again, we're going to talk about this more. But man, he has really put together an amazing resume. And I'm just heartbroken we can't put all these guys in.
I know, they all deserve it.
It hurts. It hurts, dude.
Especially the perennial bridesmaid, if you will, Matt Savage. He's been nominated, I don't even know how many times. He's come close. I know when they made the switch from really inducting 2 people every year to just 1, just 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was, Matt Savage finished 2nd in votes. So if they had kept it 2, he would have got in. But they changed it to 1 that year, and so he just misses out. I feel like Matt Savage is the one who's been flirting with getting inducted for a long, long time. I have heard his name being bantered about, so maybe this will be his year. It's certainly well-deserved if it is.
Yeah, Matt Savage, of course, was the tournament director at the WSOP in the 2003 series when of course, Moneymaker won. All those beautiful pictures of Moneymaker with his dad holding the bracelet. Savage is right there beside him in his tuxedo. And not only that, of course, he's also been such a big part of the TDA, and he's been a big part of WPT, of course, as well. And he just continues to contribute. And it's such a gift to have him working for us, working for poker.
I've said it for a long time. Isai Scheinberg, until he gets in, the Poker Hall of Fame is incomplete. He is the PokerStars founder and helped really change the online poker landscape, which in turn changed the landscape in live poker as well. He deserves to be in. He should already be in. I hope he gets in. I don't know if he will, if the support is there, but he's nominated again at least. And so that's great to see. But man, we got it. Isai Scheinberg deserves to be in the Poker Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Yep. Can't say anything more. I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, PokerStars, what an important part of online poker, about the history of poker. What an important piece. I mean, Moneymaker would never have made the 03 main event without that $20, $86, whatever it was, satellite that he won on PokerStars. And then Stars putting in, Fossil Man and Hashem 2. Like, I mean, these are amazing stories. And PokerStars, not only for what else it did in online poker, but just being that part of the history of poker as well. Isai must be in there.
Well, the last name on the list is perhaps the most surprising, and that is 1985 World Series of Poker main event champion, the late Bill Smith. He is a legend if you know poker history. If you don't know poker history, you might not have ever heard of him or just seen his banner hanging here at the World Series of Poker, but he does get nominated. I like this. The WSOP has done something similar in the past where they've kind of taken a figure from the past of poker's history and given them some recognition. Bob Hooks is one that jumps to mind. And so I like to see that here with Bill Smith. What I know best about Bill Smith, obviously never met him. He passed away in, I'm not even sure when it was, in the 90s perhaps, but you read the stories, he was always drinking when he played. And it kind of goes, a sober Bill Smith was no good at poker. Yeah. A buzzing Bill Smith was the best poker player you've ever seen. And then a drunk Bill Smith was back to being one of the worst. So it's that sweet spot for him.
Yeah. He hails from Roswell, New Mexico. So I love that too. Aliens are one of my favorite things. Chad, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love aliens.
It's true.
Bill Smith is 85 main event winner. And I found a quote that I absolutely love from his, he passed away in the 90s. So from his memorial, the quote goes, "Upon winning the crown and the $700K first prize, Smith, in response to a reporter's question about his personal life, simply said, 'There's not much to say. I just drink and gamble.'" I just drink and gamble. How fucking great is that?
That's Hall of Fame worthy right there.
Dude, put that quote on his banner. Yeah. Like that will people will take pictures of that what a story, dude. Yeah, he and Cloutier were good friends. Dallas. Yeah, Smith was a Texas road gambler too. I mean, he was one of those guys in the 80s. Chad, when we did our Texas road trip, I remember hearing about the things Smith would do in those cash games and just what a story. Yeah, love it.
Well,
Love it.
those are the nominees. We're going to offer our picks a little bit later on
True.
in the show during the Calling the Clock. But right now, what will happen is it will go to the Living Poker Hall of Fame members to vote, and then the ultimate inductee will be announced and honored on July 13th. So we're just going to have to wait a few more weeks to learn which one of these guys actually get in.
That's right. All right. Well, before we get to Calling the Clock, it's time to pause and thank our sponsor, Global Poker. A big series is right around the corner, and that is the Summer Series 4th edition. It kicks off June 26th, running through July 9th. It's going to feature 4 main events on the gold coin side and the Suits coin side. Lots of big prizes, lots of great merch, of course, beautiful trophies, like we always say, great trophies. Check it out. And if you are a first-time player on Global Poker, make sure you use a code from us. It's a gift from Poker News and from our pals at Global Poker. Use code PokerNews for a little special gift from all of us.
All right, it is time now for our Calling the Clock segment. We've got some great topics on the board this week, and we've just talked about the Poker Hall of Fame, so that's where we're going to start. 2 minutes on the clock. Jesse, we need to make our picks about who we want to see go in. I'm going to go first. I said Isai Scheinberg. I still believe that. That's who I really want to see, but I do think it's going to be Brian Rast this year after he just won his 6th bracelet and the PPC for the 3rd time.
You know, I think that you have a great pick in Brian Rast, and I think Isai's a great pick as well. But Chad, I'm so sorry. I know who's getting in.
Well, who?
Yeah,
How? Who and how do you know?
So let me tell you who I want it to be first, and I'll tell you who it is.
Okay.
All right, I want it to be Norman and Lon. Okay.
Fair.
I love Matt Savage. I want it to be Norman and Lon. I want Norman and Lon this year. I want Matt Savage next year. Is that going to happen? No, it's not. Okay. The reason is Mike Massow is making it in this year.
Wow.
Mike Massow, the mouth, is getting inducted in 2023. Call it right there. Check it off the list. It's time. It's time. Sorry, everybody else. Yes, you're eligible. Yes, you've got great resumes. Mike the Mouth has had a great resume for over a decade, and it's time to get him in. And I think that the Hall is going to say that as well. And I think we're going to be celebrating Mike the Mouth. And I think we can just go ahead and call the clock right there.
No. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty tough in terms of, as I mentioned in a past episode, right? So the Doyle Brunson's gone now, unfortunately, and Doyle held a lot of sway over the Poker Hall of Fame. He had a voting block, if you will. A lot of people. Jack Minion, right? Jack Minion isn't keeping on top about what's going on in the poker world on a daily basis. Crandall Addington down there in Texas, same thing. So they used to go to Doyle and say, "Who should we vote for?"
Sure, yeah.
And now he's not there to tell them that. Maybe they go to Todd and he says it, or maybe another person rises. Maybe Daniel Negreanu gets more influence within the actual Hall.
Maybe.
I don't know. So I think it could really go anywhere. I know, as I mentioned earlier in the show, Tom McAvoy, TJ Cloutier, some guys who are supporting Kathy Liebert. So Negreanu probably going to support Ari or maybe Isai Scheinberg. I don't know. So I do think it's a pretty big toss-up.
I understand what you're saying, and I love that you're sharing that. But I just want to go ahead and say congratulations to Mike Massow. I'm so happy to see you inducted into the Hall of Fame. There you go. All right, let's move on to Brian Rast. I like getting the last word. It's fun because then Chad can't say anything. Brian Rast wins the 50K PPC. Chad, I've heard that before, right?
Yeah, once, twice.
Yeah, this
well,
is
now
third,
3 times.
Oh, it's 3rd time. Okay, yeah. My goodness. I mean, what a story. Brian Rast wins it for his 3rd time, takes down $1.3 million. Feels good.
It was quite impressive. So when this one started off, $50,000 buy-in, I remember asking the reporters that were on it, how many players does it have right now? And this was in the early goings, and they said like 29. I said, this is going to be a pretty small one. Like this could be bad. Luckily, a lot of late reg, right? A lot of people jumped in.
Yeah.
Got 99 runners, which I think is very impressive. And there were some big names, perhaps none more so than Phil Ivey making the final table.
My goodness,
we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Ray Decargani was also there, WSOP bracelet winner, high stakes crusher. Another name that I've heard mentioned should be nominated for the Poker Hall of Fame. Matthew Ashton, who's won it before, was there.
All right. Enough of that. Brian Rast wins his 6th bracelet.
He did so.
His 3rd PPC.
Yeah.
This is sick.
He did so in great fashion at that final table. I messaged the reporters. I said, are these chip counts right? Because he had like 21 million and everybody else had like 2 million. So I thought maybe they put an extra. He just steamrolled the final 5 and just crushed it. Defeated Talal Shakurchi in heads-up play. It was an impressive performance. This is arguably the toughest tournament in the world. It's got the best mixed game players that poker has to offer.
Yeah.
And to win it 3 times, Michael the Grinder Mizrahi was the first one to do it. He's won 3 times.
Yep.
And now to have Brian Rast do the same thing, it's quite incredible. Since
I want Poker Go Studio to do a heads up between those two, Mizrahi and Rast, with an 8-game mix of some sort. Like, let's give us who's the best of the PPC 3-time winners.
Yeah, that would be fun. It would, and this event's only been in existence since 2006.
Yeah.
Right. So 17 years, and we have 2 3-time winners.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay, let's go on. Ivey makes the FT, and I was so heartbroken when he didn't make that last day too. You know, when they kept condensing it. Ah, man. He put that in my bloodstream.
He had so early on in level 5 on day 1, he played this massive PLO hand. I pulled it to the front page of Poker News because it was just so special. He put his life on the line in this event, making a great call against Matthew Ashton. I won't go into the specifics. You can read it on Poker News, but it was just this really impressive hand that allowed him to jump towards the top of the chip counts, where he stayed for most of the tournament. So it was like, wow, Phil Ivey, he's at the final table. He's got chips. But then, unfortunately, things must have taken a turn. I don't know if Lady Luck turned against him, but he ended up bowing out in 6th place. And it definitely was a kind of letting the air out of the balloon type of thing, because I was like, man, Phil Ivey might do this. And I think it was his 5th time cashing this event, and the second best he's ever performed. He finished 3rd back in 2006 when Chip Reese won it. So pretty, even though he didn't win it, he didn't get heads up or anything, but still pretty impressive by Mr. Ivey.
No joke. Absolutely. You know, what I've noticed this year is that Ivey just seems like he's really happy. I mean, I'm just seeing pictures. I'm seeing videos on Hellmuth's Twitter. He's just got this smile, man. It feels so good. And making this deep run, I'm so excited. I really think we're going to see more from Ivey this summer, and I can't get enough of it, man. When I get a chance, I run over to Paris. I look in that little corner where all the high rollers are. I'm like, where is he? Where is he? It's fun to see him in the updates. And so for me to see him make this final table, it's just like, yes, this is what we need, man. This is what poker needs.
Yeah, Phil Ivey, and there's a handful of people when they make a run, when they make it deep, an Ivey, a Negreanu, a Hellmuth. There's something special, electric at the World Series of Poker. You feel it, not only from our perspective as a media outlet, but just the players get excited. You see more people coming to the rail. The rail in this one, people were lined up to see Phil Ivey playing.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. Jeremy Chip Checka Ausmus claims his 6th bracelet. I'm getting tired of saying 6th and 5th bracelets, man. It's just too much this summer. I'm just joking, obviously. My goodness. This is like the legend summer. I feel like there's just so much of this. But yeah, Ausmus claims his 6th bracelet in online event number 8, the $3,200 NLH.
It's impressive. I'm pulling up his WSOP.com player profile right now because I wanted to look over his bracelets. As we mentioned earlier in the show, this was his 5th bracelet win in 20, what was it?
21 months.
21 months. Is it his 5th or is it his... he actually had an online circuit ring win in there too, which is crazy. I'm just noticing that as well. So he's won 5 bracelets in 21 months. He's got the online high roller event. He won, it looks like, another online bracelet event last year, No Limit Hold'em. He's won a live 6-handed event, won the live 50K pot limit Omaha high roller, where I think that was the one where Hellmuth and Negreanu and him were 3-handed. He beat those legends out.
That's right.
He won the COVID relief of a charity event that was at the 2021 WSOP. And he's also got a WSOP Europe bracelet, which was his first. That's a hell of a resume. And that's just WSOP.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's impressive. For me though, is it because it's an online bracelet that is it just a little bit less energy for you?
I've said it is definitely less energy, but as I said with Eric Seidel too, because one of his bracelets is online, right?
Yeah.
So I think when somebody has an already impressive resume, and adding an online bracelet to it, it really does bolster it because it's just a whole different genre of poker, if you will, right? So I think it can enhance a poker resume in that aspect. Now, if it was just a poker resume of 5 online bracelets, you're right. To me, it doesn't hit as hard as 5 live ones.
Yeah. I mean, also the fact that it's a high roller is a big deal, I think. I mean, yeah.
He's nominated for the Poker Hall of Fame. That in itself speaks volumes.
It's time for the Poker News Cup again. Returning to the Golden Nugget. I mean, this was a lot of fun last year. We broke the record for Golden Nugget attendance of, it was huge. Or no, not attendance. The biggest, biggest prize?
Biggest prize pool in Golden Nugget history. This is a venue that goes back to the 1940s.
Yeah.
And it was the largest ever, like 1.2 million, something like that.
And it's not like they didn't have poker. It used to be owned by Steve Wynn. Right. He loved poker. I mean, no,
it was the place for poker. Yeah,
they had the Grand Prix back in the 80s and stuff like that. No, this was massive, huge. This time it's a little different, and I am so excited, Chad, because it's the mystery bounty. It's a mystery bounty, $1 million guarantee. And the thing that I'm most excited about is that we're going to stream this. So on day 2, when the bounties begin, we'll have a broadcast. And this isn't going to be like the ones you've seen before where you have a camera from far away, where, someone opens it, sees it themselves, and then shows the audience. We have, thanks to the magic of technology, we're going to have an overhead camera like the flop, like a board of cards where people have to open their envelope and you get to see it at the same time they get to see it. Plus, we're going to have a camera on their face. So just the same way our show has us two next to each other in some shots, you'll get to see the sweat and the sadness on their face when they pull that little baby one instead. And I want to see tears. I want to see sadness. I want to see joy. I want to see all those emotions. And then get back to the poker as well.
So the PokerNews Cup is running June 29th through July 3rd. Yep. There's 3 starting flights, $1,100 buy-in, $1 million guarantee, mystery bounty, as you said.
100K bounties.
But starting tomorrow, June 24th, leading up to it on the 29th, Golden Nugget is giving away 100 seats into the PokerNews Cup.
In their cash game.
Yeah. All you have to do is go play in the cash game room, and they're going to do random drawings. You can win a seat just by playing, and 100 of them.
100
That's
seats.
That's $110,000 worth of value they're going to be giving away.
Make sure to attend. I'll be there. Chad will be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, it's time to talk about our good pal Doyle's celebration that's occurring on July 2nd.
Yeah, so July 2nd is also day 2 of the PokerNews Cup that we just mentioned.
It is.
Hopefully we'll get to sneak away and get back down here to the World Series of Poker, because at 11:30 a.m. here at the Horseshoe, they are going to celebrate the life of Texas Dolly, Doyle Brunson. It's going to be a high-profile affair. Lots of people, legends, coming to speak about Doyle Brunson and remembering him.
Jack Binion, Lyle Berman, Dewey Tomko, Billy Baxter, Eric Drache, Hellmuth, Negreanu will be among those sharing. Plus, I'm sure Brian Ballsback will share some great stories too. It's gonna be a wonderful celebration. Great memories, great stories. It's gonna be taking place at the Jubilee Theater at 12 noon, open to the public. So yeah, Chad and I will hope to be there. Plus, I'm sure it's gonna be. I even know it's just gonna be huge.
I think that's what the great thing about this is now. So it takes place at noon. Doors open at 11:30. It's open to the public.
Yep.
To make this open to players or anybody here at the World Series of Poker that wants to attend and enjoy a celebration of life for Doyle Brunson, I think that's great. And as opposed to doing something that's more private or invitation only, I really like that idea. I think having it in the theater should allow a lot of space, and anybody who wants to attend should hopefully be able to. And it's just great to see. Everybody was wondering leading up to the WSOP if they were going to do something to remember Doyle Brunson, and here it is. And there are people flying in. I've spoken to some flying in from across the country just for this celebration of life.
Yeah,
probably be in and out in a day, but they wanted to be here because this is going to be such a special affair.
Yeah. My hope is the same way that the Chip Reese Trophy has been named in his honor. I hope that the WSOP finds something like maybe the main event bracelet to be named in Doyle's honor. I mean, I love the celebration. I love this, but we need Doyle to be remembered every year. We need something like this to.
I mean, I would argue they should maybe, because it's the Chip Reese Trophy for the PPC, but there's also a bracelet awarded there. They could do something with that combination.
That'd be fun too, for sure. Okay, Ash and Charizard. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we have to talk about this.
Pokemon, not my thing. I know who Charizard is, and Ash. Ash is the guy. He's a Pokemon.
Oh wow,
that's about it. Yeah, him, Pikachu, Blastoise. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
So what happened yesterday? Of course, it's the tag team. It's time to have some fun. Costumes galore. There are lots of people in costumes out there amongst the crowd. Lots of custom T-shirts made and all this stuff. But when it comes to high-profile players who have massive scores and lots of bracelets, you don't usually see them in costume. Except it feels like Jungle Man and Phil Hellmuth need to start a freaking reality show, dude. These guys have done this multiple times now, and you have Jungle Man, Dan Cates wearing the Ash Ketchum Pokemon costume with a T-shirt and the hat, blah 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 blah. Then you have Hellmuth put on some pajamas, basically some Charizard.
Are we showing the picture during this? They're going to get to see it.
Yeah, they get to see it. Oh yeah, without doubt. There's a little video too. We'll throw that in there. Man, I mean, it's fun. It's fun.
It sounds fun.
It's fun.
No, I do give credit, and the tag team is a good opportunity for people to let loose. We participated in the tag team a couple of years ago and dressed up.
It was Halloween.
Yeah, I was going to grant it the 2021 WSOP.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I do like the people having fun with it. I've seen other teams doing whatever it might be, making T-shirts, coming up with a team name, having some sort of gimmick.
Yeah.
And so to have two of the most high-profile players in the game, Phil Hellmuth and Dan Cates, get together, have a little bit of fun, play $1,000 buy-in, and rub elbows with the masses. I do have to give him credit there. And, Phil, for all his faults, he's never been afraid to poke fun at himself or to dress up, or to put himself out like that. So
yeah, without a doubt.
The costumes, like, where do they go? Like, they went somewhere
in
like
the garbage can.
Like, no, like to get them.
Oh, the costumes.
Like, I need what was it? A Charizard for a 6'7" man.
Let's just stop talking about that right now. Okay. All right. It's week 4 of the World Series, day 25. We're reaching the halfway point right here. And we do not have a bracelet yet for either Hellmuth or Negreanu. We got a little update. Chad, we both thought by this point, at least one of these guys would have a bracelet by now.
Yeah, it's been quite surprising. If you've watched Negreanu's vlogs at all, he's been saying it's kind of a weird year for him because most of his success has come in the bigger fields, smaller buy-in tournaments. Right. And he finished 16th in the 1500 PLO for 10K, 13th in the deuce to 7 draw lowball championship for 20K, and 54th in the 3K no limit hold'em for 12K. So like, these are small scores for what we're used to with Negreanu, but it is just kind of cool to see him going deep in these bigger fields. But even still, like, where are those high roller cashes? Where are those? I mean, he busted day 1 of the 50K PPC, which is very unusual for him. Yeah.
Looking at the last week or so, just to give you guys an update, 5 days ago, we did see Negreanu. Negreanu made a 54th place in the 3K NLH for 12K. Just before that, on June 15th, he made a 13th place in the 10K deuce to 7 triple draw for 20K. Hellmuth on this side, about the same time, 5 days ago, finished in 14th in the 50K in the PPC.
Yeah, it was cool to see.
That was great to see him make a deep run there. I mean, that was a lot of fun. Same day, he finished 89th in the online 08. So he's still, I mean, it's not like they're not trying. My God, they're firing every day, of course. And look,
we're only halfway through the 2023 World Series of Poker. There's still plenty of time for both of these guys. We've seen it with Negreanu a couple of years ago. He didn't get his big score until late in the series.
That's right. So, I mean, who do you think's to take a bracelet at this point? 4 weeks left.
I'm going to still go with Hellmuth. I think, I mean, maybe did him and Kate's bag the tag team event? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think we missed them all.
I didn't get that Pokemon magic.
Nope. All right. It's time to move along and bring in our special guest. Let's bring in Joey Ingram. All right. It's time to bring in our special guest, a friend of the podcast. He's a king of podcasts. He likes, when it comes to cards, he likes 4 cards. Let's bring in the lover of the great game, Joey Ingram.
What's up, guys? Welcome. We're here. We're live. 1 p.m. World Series of Poker. A little early, but I'm not a big tournament player, so I'm used to getting going about 8 p.m. in Vegas, right? 8 p.m., 10 p.m. That's when you kick the strides in. 1 a.m., you're getting warmed up. So if this was 1 a.m., this would be the greatest podcast I've ever done in my life. We'd be having a few drinks and we'd be living a good life out here in Vegas. But how you boys doing? How's the show going?
We're good. This is episode 8.
Episode 8?
Yeah.
They let you make it to
great.
8 episodes,
We did Ocho, dude.
Congratulations,
Yeah. And we're very happy to have you, man. This is great.
Yeah, it's happy to be here. You told me I got to come on the show. I said when I'm back in Vegas, I'm going to come by, talk with you guys about whatever you got in your mind.
We got stuff on our minds.
This is my first time at the WSOP this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Where have you been? You said back in Vegas. So you down in Texas?
LA for a couple of weeks, and then I came back to Vegas about last week. So I've just been hanging out. Everyone's in town, so I'm having a lot of meetings every day. Going to events. People just always invite me. You want to go here? You want to play this? You want to do that? So just kind of going with the flow, right?
Busy. Yeah.
Just go with the flow. Tomorrow's my birthday, and my parents are in town.
Go.
I know, right? So.
That's good.
Another WSOP. We're here. We're locked in. We're ready.
How wild is your birthday going to get with parents in town?
But it's same every day of birthday to me now. So every day is going to be a celebration.
Yes.
So we'll go out, we'll get some great food, have some drinks, hang around friends, and enjoy Vegas. So
beautiful.
I actually remember hanging out on a birthday. It was your birthday, Jesse, and we went to the Sahara to play poker. And Joey came, and that was the first time we met Landon Tice.
That's right. Yeah, I remember I didn't know who he was until I thought it was like a sibling of yours. I'm like, who? And then, of course, my goodness, he has had an adventure.
Yeah, he's been doing well. He's like the next man up. He's still grinding. A couple years into his career. So
yeah, how did you find him so early when he was an unknown?
Well, I always think I'm like really one of my things I'm really great at is spotting good talent. So whether it's like people that work at a company, people that play poker, people that make content, just from talking to someone, I can sort of tell what their ambition is, what they want to be, where they want to go. But some people make it really obvious. And he made it really obvious because sometimes a lot of people send me messages. I get like thousands of messages people on Instagram, on fucking YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, like random people get my phone number and just start messaging me, asking for this, asking for that all the time. People are always asking for everything all the time. So this guy hit me up and he was doing my timestamps on YouTube, but he sent me this long Twitter message, like an epic Twitter message about how he wants to be the GOAT. He's going to be a poker god. He's living in Florida, but he said, I'm doing anything. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to be the next guy at poker. And I was like, damn, I like this guy's fire. I like this guy's energy, right? So normally I just don't respond to most people, but I responded to him. We started being friends. And I just started, talking to him all the time, right? Talking about his career, talking about what he's working on, what his plans for life is, and, his mindset about poker and about life and what his goals were and what he wanted to do, what he wanted to accomplish, all that good stuff. So
and now he's just crushing it. Now he's just absolutely
he's living a great life. He's killing it, man. Dedicated to the gym, dedicated to poker, dedicated to trying to be a good person. So what more could you ask for from someone right now?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do a deep dive into some of your old content. We're not going to talk about Postle. We're not going to talk about Robbie. But let's talk about some of those old fight videos you do, dude. Those are my favorite, Joey. When you would do like a play-by-play of a fight at Disneyland, when you do a play-by-play of like some guy getting knocked out on the casino floor, I miss that content so much, man.
I think I have a gift to narrate a fight,
dude.
There's something about a good fight, and plus when I like do my fight voice, I can sort of act like myself. Whereas when I play poker, if I really talk like how I talk, then I'm sure some people would like it, but they would say I'm like a crazy guy, this and that. So, but when I do a fight breakdown, I could be like, all right, he's gonna hit a bump, right there, bang, 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 and just like start like pointing it out and do arrows in there. Watch it, rewind, bang, boom, 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 boom. Watch the leg, right? So I can get real fucking into it.
God.
And then I'm in my home, and then I'm in my element. So I think that my best content, I should be a fight breakdown professional and just do like fights, like UFC fights or anything like that.
But, have you seen the Disneyland fight that Joey did?
I have not. I gotta check this out.
There's a lawyer I know. He says they use the video with the other lawyers to show all the crimes happening in the video through this fight breakdown video.
It's like a family of like 8 and everyone's fighting. Joey like paused it, rewound, and played every person. It's like, okay, so here's where she's coming from, and here's the grandma. Like it was insane.
It's pretty wild. I mean, this was a crazy fight. I still get
good.
That's one of the comments that I still get comments in that video. Like, this is the greatest fight breakdown. Like, how do I find this?
100%.
So yeah, but the fight breakdowns always got really good feedback from people. Yeah, but some people would say like, oh, this is like your best video. I'm like, damn, that's sad. If this is my best video, is me breaking down a fight. Like,
but it's what you're passionate about, man. I mean, you're passionate about poker, obviously, and crypto and all these things that you put your heart into. But dude, you know how to like you're an entertaining guy, and it just comes out of you naturally.
Back
so
one
good.
Day, the fight breakdowns.
Please.
But I'll use an AI voice. That way you won't know it's me.
Oh, well, now we'll know.
I'll use your voice. I'll take your voice, put it into my AI program. Yeah.
No. Bring Doyle Brunson's voice back. We got enough.
Okay.
We're getting too serious there.
Now we're talking.
Now that's some content right there.
Yeah,
that's some content right there.
Yeah.
So Joey, you love 4 cards. You're playing more 2 cards these days. I really want to know, because of the way your brain works and how you are always trying to solve puzzles, like how can we make poker better? Period. Tell me.
Regard. You're saying, Joey, you're saying the answer is not an Eden Rocks opera or a Twitter Spaces? I mean, how we can make the poker better? Because that's what he's been telling me.
Unfortunately, an opera can't take place at Caesar's property because he's perma-banned from Caesar's as of last night.
That's what I've heard.
He had a run, didn't he?
Oh, dude.
He had a run. I've been telling him, I mean, you make enemies, like the enemy's going to react, right? So when you got access to the building, they let you in the building, right? Somebody let you in the building. You know, if you're going to do this or act a certain way and treat people a certain way, then those actions are going to have consequences, right? And I don't know what the guy's been doing. He's been on Twitter Spaces being crazy on there. And, I've been trying to talk to him. I say, just be nice to people. Trust me, you just be nice to people, do good work, try to do good things, and everybody's going to like you. Everybody's going to give you opportunity. And you're going to be able to get exactly what you're looking for in this industry. But, I don't know. He's been getting issues. I've never kept up with it. I'm working on some other stuff right now. So you guys got to let me know. But how do we make poker better?
How do we make poker better?
Yeah, I mean,
the Joey Ingram way.
Well, basically meeting with every company right now about, really throwing the biggest events in the world. So I was just part of the Hustler event. And
huge success.
Yeah, so basically my plan is just be a part of the biggest events that exist on this planet for poker and help start putting those together on the organization side of things and the lineup side of things, on building out, my strategy for how I would put together lineups, because everybody got their own strategy. But really, I think if I'm putting on lineups, if I'm putting on special games or special events, it's going to be some of the best in the world. So I got years experience doing that with my podcast, with creating videos, with doing investigations, with doing hand breakdowns. Like I've done so many different formats, fight breakdowns, and they've all done pretty well.
Yeah.
So now that I've been getting more events, working with more companies that are doing live events as ambassadors or host or commentator analysis or promoting it on social media, I just see there's so much opportunity with these events. And, really my network and people, I just know so many people that are on the money side of it, that are on the player side of it, that are on the talent side of it, that can work the event. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to meet the best people I can meet. And then that way, when I really start running with whatever I'm doing, and I find the right partners, which I feel like right now, there's a few really good partners in the poker world that want to do big events. There's only a few people that really want to do big events, the biggest events in the world with the most popular people on the planet, with people that how do you make a poker event that everyone on the planet would watch? How's that possible? Is it possible? How can you do something like that? So those are kind of the ideas I'm going towards, with also focusing on regulation and getting poker, being able to play it more in America. People can play it everywhere, because that's going to be the biggest way to improve poker. To me, is just get more people playing. People are spending more money. The companies are spending more money. People go on shows. They can win more money. The content creators are happy. The professionals are happy. The recreationals are winning. Good content's being put out there, and it's being promoted a certain way by a lot of different people. So I think if you can nail a few of those elements, then you really start to see this blossom happening. And but ultimately, it starts with better events, better marketed events. And I just think right now that's the biggest weakness in the poker industry. And it's been that way for a long time. It's just the ability to really understand digital marketing, influencer marketing, and have people working together and being organized together to really create those outsized returns. And I don't think we see a lot of that in poker. So, but it's kind of.
It feels like hustlers really trying though. It feels like between like pulling in Mr. Beast, between pulling in this $1 million game, and really like, especially as the game evolved into those like last ones with like Dwan and then these massive beautiful bots. Like we saw the numbers, and that was enough to say like, this is what people want. And for that Tom Dwan game to do better than Mr. Beast game, I think also tells us so much from the people who are watching. Or, I mean,
it's all a big. I remember marketing's like a big foog. Yeah. So you got to like trick people into feeling a certain kind of way, right? So for $1 million game, if they do a regular Friday stream, it's going to have a certain audience. If they say it's $1 million game now, and you got to buy in for more money than we normally buy in for, all of a sudden more people watch, right? So that's marketing, putting that inside that package and then positioning it a certain way and saying, okay, here's what it's going to be. It's going to be special. It's going to stand out. It's going to be this guy in the game. It's going to be special players in the game. So now you see the blueprint for how that's done. And then you take that and you build on top of that. So if your goal is numbers, or if your goal is a certain amount of money at the table, then now those elements can potentially be something that's going to start to move the needle. And, right, so you can take things away from that. But Hustler, obviously, they got a lot of potential. I mean, they're just getting started. If they got 57,000 people watching one of their shows now, then imagine in the future, once they really get going on marketing and once they really start to understand what they got going on, start to build that team. And, they got a lot of potential. So Hustler, very bullish on them. If I could invest in a company, that would definitely be one of the companies I'd want to invest in. Yeah.
Oh, no joke.
I think they got a good future.
Joey, if you could build your dream table, your dream poker table for the best performing content ever, who would you put that's alive? Can't go back in time or anything. Okay, so no Doyle at this table now. But let's give you like a 6-handed table. Who are your top 6 players you want at that table? Can be from any industry.
Top 6 players from any industry. Mr. Beast, Elon Musk, Drake.
Oh yeah.
And then like a couple poker players.
Like Dwan?
I think Tom Dwan is at any game I would put together. I think he's a true legend, and it's good to see him back in the mix.
Ivey?
Not Ivey, no. I would put Ivey in there, no. I would put I'd probably put some content creator in there. I'd probably put like Doug Polk in there,
Rampage,
or maybe Rampage, yeah. Maybe Daniel, yeah. I don't know, something like that.
It's a good table. I like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think Daniel is there for both his current stuff and just the history of Daniel. I mean, it's such a good story.
He's very underrated right now.
Yeah,
Dan Negreanu, underrated. Never thought I'd get to that point, but I think he's still. Obviously you got to have results to really start being the discussion during the World Series of Poker. Who do we talk about? We're talking about the winners. We're talking about the dramatic people.
Yeah.
And Daniel kind of been chilling this summer. We haven't really seen maybe any result that stood out, but I think he's the best voice. I remember I talked with And I was talking about it. I said, Dan Negreanu, like he crushed this Lex Friedman podcast. Like this guy needs to do more podcasts.
Yeah.
He broke down poker in such a unique way. All the clips were bangers. Like that guy is underrated. So Dan Negreanu for me is one of the top poker ambassadors. It might not necessarily be thought of that way still. When they look back, they'd say, oh, he was the man. Which he was, right? He was one of the best guys at really growing poker. So you need ambassadors. You mentioned how you grow poker. You need to help build up ambassadors and then put those ambassadors in a position where they're able to grow poker. So when let's say I'm working with an ambassador and I'm a company and I have somebody like Daniel, it's now my responsibility to help me utilize my asset to help spread out the game of poker all around the world. So that's a strategy in its own, but a lot of people, right, they don't necessarily, none of that's being done right now. I feel like in poker, most times people in poker are being kept inside this framework. And to really get outside, you need these guys going outside. You need them going on Joe Rogan podcast, going on Lex Friedman podcast, collaborating with Mr. Beast, Elon Musk, these influencers in Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and stuff like that.
I loved seeing
Hellmuth to really grow.
I loved seeing Hellmuth like hang out and interact with Beast, like seeing them. I don't know whose house it was at, but they're like in the kitchen together playing cards. Like it was short lived. It didn't go too far, but at the time I was like, this could be huge. This could be, and unfortunately, like we haven't seen Beast play too many other public games.
It's hard to get those people down, right? You got to have a relationship with the people, and usually it's like a friend that gets someone there. So you got to have the right person in the game, putting a lineup together, right incentives for people, and all that good stuff. So
So July 2nd is around the corner, and that's where we're gonna have a celebration for Doyle Brunson. Joey, with your place in the poker community and everything, did you ever have much engagement or interaction with Doyle? I know you read his super system on your show.
He was like the only person I never really talked to that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, never talked to him. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Talked to him during like the book signing I did, but I've just seen him online and stuff like that. But never really interacted with him. Never had a
big moment.
I'm not like a big thirsty guy when I'm like going and trying to meet new people. So if I don't meet somebody, if it doesn't happen naturally, then it's just not going to happen. So with him, it just never really happened. Other guys, I just never really seen them. Never really happened. Yeah. Even like Phil Ivey outside the podcast we did, never really talk with him.
Yeah.
I don't really know him like that. So, I understand like a lot of older guard, they really on guard unless they know you. They're introduced to you by like a middleman who is going to vouch for you, right? Like if somebody comes to meet me, I don't know who the fuck you are, I'm going to give you respect, but at the same time, I don't know anything about you. But if you come to me and say, hey, this is my guy, meet him, great. I'm going to have a long conversation with them. And I feel like that's how you end up really connecting with people and get certain people, like rich people, famous people, like paranoid people that are up to some no good. They're not easy to let you into their life unless you come through with someone that's vouching for you. Like someone who's going to say, yeah, this guy's this guy's that, whatever. That's why it's so important for that. And so in the poker world, that's really how it operates at the high stakes world and with old guard, with those sorts of a certain kind of person. So those guys are just two guys where it really does work that way. You're not going to get with Doyle Brunson unless somebody's like, hey, meet this guy, sit down with this guy, talk to this guy, right?
Yeah.
So I just never really was in that position to. I never had reason to meet him. I mean, obviously you want to meet. I want to meet everybody. I'd love to meet. I want to meet as many people as I can. But we never did any content. Never happened. So
would you vouch for Jesse and I with Phil Ivey and get him on the show for us?
I mean, why not? Why would he not want to come on the PokerNews show? Why would he not want to come on?
It's called the Chad and Jesse Poker Show. That might be why he doesn't want to as well.
Chad and Jesse, who cares? I mean, if people don't want to come on, I don't know. Like. I don't care. Like people on my show, they come on the show. Great. They don't want to come on. Great. Like, great. I want to have people on that want to be on my show. Yeah. If you don't want to go on my show, don't fucking come on. That's all I think about it.
Right. If you could interview anybody from the poker world that you haven't already, who would it be?
I don't know. I got no more. I got no more. Just no one on the list really. Like I feel like I've interviewed with so many people. Have there been some people I haven't got a chance to talk with that I would love to? Absolutely. Online legends, guys like Isildur, guys like Barry Sweet. I really love to tell people stories that aren't really out there. So a lot of those stories are usually the online guys, but there are some epic poker players I'd like to talk more with just because I love their story. I think Josh Aria real underrated. I'd love to have him on. Obviously, the GOAT, Patrick Antoni, is true legend of the game. Me and him have been talking about doing a show for a long time. So, my goal was to have, I would love to have everybody on. Eric Seidel, these guys I haven't had on, Johnny Chan, the true legends, these guys with the stories, Bobby Baldwin, guys like that. I think I would love to do something with anytime, right? These guys would be epic. A lot of the, high stakes cash players would all be great, but I'm trying not to let myself get that excited about that possibility right now because then it takes you down a path. You just get fired up. I get fired. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should get PA on the legend. I mean, the GOAT. So.
The one if I could pick one for you, I'd want Tommy Bates, man, off the East Coast. I know you're friends with him too.
Man. Yeah, he's cool. I love Tommy.
And the stories he can tell, man. I mean, that'd be the dream.
Yeah, I think like guys like that. This is the thing. There are so many good guest in poker to have on a podcast.
Yeah.
Like if I was so fired up about poker right now, there'd be so many great people to have on. So many people are trying hard. They're working hard. Like I want to invest in a podcast right now because I think if I was putting guests on a show, I'm choosing way different guests than anybody out there is choosing. And I know who all the people are and I know who the interesting people are. And there's so many people that just haven't had their stories told that, that was my initial desire. Why I started my show was I saw stories. No one was telling these stories, right? Like I was one of the better online players. No one was telling my story. Nobody was telling any. There's so many players. No one's telling the stories. They just go back to the same stories. Always focus on those people. And to me, I think that's the fun part of poker now is to really start to unlock value in other people, other stories. And so that's what I'd be looking for if I was going to be doing a show right now.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So your parents are here because it's your birthday, and I got to sit and chat with your parents for a few minutes before you got here. But that what inspired me to ask you more about like how you got into poker. Like, I know we're kind of coming to the end of our chat, in the show. But I wanted to reach back into your history, into your memory. I mean, your parents have offered baby pictures to us, so we're gonna get those.
Wow,
we're gonna use those.
Okay.
But now we have to ask you, when did you find poker? At what age? Blah blah blah.
What age? Yeah, I think I started playing when I was like 17. But I started watching on TV when I was young, and I was always into sports. I was always into online video games. I was always into numbers and stats. And I always competitively played games basically growing up my entire life. So I started playing poker like for fun, home games and stuff like that. And then just kept watching on TV, kept getting fired up every day. These guys on 2 a.m. all the time, poker after dark all the time. And I was like, man, this is the sickest thing I've ever seen, right? Like these guys on TV, they're on ESPN. I mean, I loved watching sports. I love baseball, I love football. So poker, when it got on ESPN, to me, it was like, oh, this is like a real sport. It's like a real thing. So I was like, oh, why can't I do that? I mean, I've always wanted to be one of the best at what I'm doing. Like I was like, these guys can do it, I can do it. So that's what really got my desire going. And then once I found online poker on PokerStars, that's when I realized like, oh, here's how to do it. Like here's how to build up. I found 2+2. I started posting on the poker forum every day. I started playing poker on PokerStars every day. I found some friends in my area. We just started playing every day. 5 cent, 10 cent, 10 cent, 25 cent on the floor. I'd be grinding all day long, 8 hours a day, just reading poker, talking poker, thinking about poker every day. So about when I lived in Chicago, when I was about 21, I basically started making some money. I made like a few $100 on there. And then I quit my job. I was like doing promoting and bartending and serving in the city in Chicago. And it was a great job. And I met a lot of great people. But once I started making a little money at poker, I was like, damn, this could be the move. So, because I saw all these guys making money, Tom Dwan, David Benefield, they were on 2+2, like driving nice cars, and they got the computer set up. I was like, man, what are these guys, like, what's going on here, right? There must be a system to do this. And then I found training videos, and I found guys like Phil Galfond who really were laying out the blueprint. And now literally poker is so easy. I mean, oh my God, I can't even believe when I look around, there's the blueprint is just laid out for you by so many people in so many different ways that like there's never been a time to make a lot of money playing poker than it is right now. It just works different than it used to. Where used to, you had to go on PokerStars, you had to go on Full Tilt, you had to go build your online bankroll up, which that's still available now in a different way. But now the live poker world and the cash games and the private games and all these tournament series, I mean, it's like crazy right now. It's a golden time, even though people would argue that the skill level has improved. So therefore the ability to make money has decreased. I would argue that the ability to create your own game has never been easier. And, the people that are willing to do that, the people who are willing to play in those games are the ones who are really doing well. And that option was never really there before as it was now. So before you had to be a great player. Now you can literally be any player. You can just have a desire to do it. Boom. Yeah.
All right. Last question. Last question. Poker Hall of Fame candidates were announced yesterday. Okay. Did you get a chance to see it by any chance?
A little bit, yeah. Not too much. I mean, I saw the list, but I didn't have any deep thoughts when I saw the list, right, about what a Hall of Famer is for that.
This is when we're going to put you to the fire. Who would you pick of those?
Do we have the 10 in front of us?
Chad, do we have the 10 in front of us?
Not in front of us, no.
Not in front of us.
Not in front of us. We need the 10 in front of us.
Okay. All right. Give me
the 10. Cut it out.
Give me 25 seconds.
Okay. I feel like Chad's a good judge of this.
There's your list. Boom.
He's been paying attention to that for a while.
Josh Aryeh, Jeremy Ausmus, Ted Forrest, Kathy Liebert, Mike Mattisau, Norman and Lon, Brian Rast, Matt Savage.
How many people get chosen?
One.
One person gets chosen? You're kidding me. Well, I personally would put in somebody like Isai Scheinberg or Matt Savage. I think those two have been great for a long time. I mean, Isai Scheinberg, true legend, he got to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Something for poker, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Savage as well, and his end, this guy is one of the hardest working guys, been doing it for a long time. I think guys like that really were instrumental in shaping the industry. And then from a player side of things, I don't really play with a lot of these guys. These guys play tournaments, and, it's really hard to know who's really winning, who's actually good, who made money at poker, unless you were really in that group as those guys, one of those guys. So, obviously these guys are all really great players. Guy like Brian Rast, guy like Josh Aryeh, Ausmus, Mattis outside Force, Kathy Liebert, any of those guys could get in, or anybody could get in. So, and even Lon and Norm, obviously those guys been making a huge contribution to the game for a long time through their commentary. So
20 years.
Yeah, this is a tough list. Bill Smith, my man, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm sure he's a legend.
85 main event winner.
He's a legendary gambler, and you got to believe he's definitely a legendary gambler.
He had a beer with him every time he was playing. He was always better when he drank. Apparently.
If he made this list now, imagine how epic that guy was back in 1985. Dude. That's what I'm saying. I might go with Bill Smith, because there's a reason why he would be nominated for any list. But in terms of that, I go Isai Scheinberg. I think he'd probably be my player. But I wouldn't have an issue if anybody, Kathy got in, Mike got in. I wouldn't have an issue with anybody getting in on here. So
such a good list.
I'm glad I don't got to decide that.
No kidding. Because
that's a tough call. One person gets in a year?
Just one, man.
Wow.
Just one. All right. Thank you so much to our good friend, our special guest, Joey Ingram. Thanks to Level 9 Podcast Studio Production taking care of us today. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that kind of jazz, and we will see you guys next time for our next episode. Peace.